I grew up in a suburb of Raleigh, North Carolina, that has a virtually non-existent crime rate. My father and I moved there when I was 6. He was always busy, so I pretty much had to raise myself. So naturally, I attended school there, made all of my lifelong friends there, and so on and so forth. In 2008, I was a senior in high school. I had a very close-knit group of friends, primarily composed of people I had known since middle school. One such friend had recently come back from Holly Hill, which was our local mental hospital, after a suicide attempt. Matt had been gone for a couple of weeks. I saw him in the courtyard before heading to class. Unfortunately, I didn't really have time to talk, so all I had said to him was, "Welcome back. I missed you." I would have risked being late to class if I had known that would be the last thing I would say to him. See, Matt had suffered from depression and dementia for years, but he kept a pretty good rap on the details, so none of his friends really had a big inkling of how severe it was. Until, the aforementioned suicide attempt. We got out of school for Thanksgiving break, and one of our mutual friends messaged me on Facebook and asked if I'd like to go paintballing with them on the night of the 30th. I had to turn them down because I had to go see my grandparents the next morning for a late Thanksgiving celebration. It wasn't a big deal, just kind of a disappointment. Break came and went. We went back to school. Matt was absent again. There had been a rumor floating around about how he had run away from home and gone to Washington, D.C. to look for his birth mother. I wasn't sure if I believed that. Especially that he would go off on this long-term trip without at least mentioning it to me first. In between switching classes, I called his cell phone to find it off. I didn't think anything of it. A few days later, during lunchtime, there was a buzz around the school that Allegra, our mutual friend from earlier, and Adel, someone else who I was more of an acquaintance with than friends, but I knew of him, had been taken out of class and arrested. We had no idea what had happened, but I had a strange feeling that it had something to do with Matt's absence. After that, all I could really think about was where Matt was and the fact that Allegra sat right behind me in Shakespeare class, and that she was so tired that she slept through class the day we came back from break. The school tried to keep everything quiet in regards to the students theorizing and talking to one another, but it was high school and word travels fast. When we weren't talking, we were texting each other about it. Our local news website reported in an article that 4 of Matt's friends had been arrested in connection with a body found in Allegra's parents' summer home. You guessed it. It was Matt. 2 years afterward, Allegra, Adel, and 2 other people from Matt's circle of friends went on trial. Allegra received 2 consecutive 20-year terms for conspiracy to commit murder and murder in the 2nd degree. Adel received the same. 2 others in the trial received a life sentence for first-degree murder and accessory after the fact to first-degree murder. I watched the trial unfold. All of the trial is available online as well if anyone wanted to learn about it. There's a lot more details than I can post here without boring everyone, but you should be able to type in some details into Google and find the story. They killed him on the night of November 30th. The night they asked me to come paintballing with them. There was a period of time when I kicked myself for not going that night. I like to think that I would have had some, if even a little, influence in stopping them. So people who I thought I knew and thought were friends to myself and Matt Let's not ever meet again. This is a memory I tried to block out, but the other day when my siblings and I were talking about funny stuff my dad did when he was alive, and how humorously absent-minded he was as a parent, this long-forgotten memory came back to me, and I can't stop thinking about it. When I was about 4 years old, I had a playground fall that resulted in a serious cut to the back of my head that needed stitches. A few weeks later, my dad took me to the doctors to have them removed. I was very brave and sat very still for the doctor, unlike the huge fuss I made when I was having them put in. So, as a reward, my dad got me an ice cream and took me to the beach for a paddle. It was a very small Australian town, and the beach was quite secluded. Even though it was the middle of summer, there were only a handful of slightly older children swimming. Mind you, without any parental supervision. My dad walked me down to the water's edge and warned me sternly to stay in the shallow water and not to go any deeper than my knees. Then he disappeared. I imagined he used a public restroom or something. I know that looks bad, but he wasn't a bad father. As I mentioned before, he could just be a bit irresponsible and absent-minded, but he meant well. It drove my mom insane. There was an older boy, about 10 years old or possibly a little older. He was paddling around a few meters away, but slowly came in closer, leaving the other children. Then he called out to me. I remember he had blonde hair and was smiling brightly. He asked me what my name and age was. I answered, also filling him in on all the important details about my trip to the doctors that morning, emphasizing that I had been a very brave girl to impress him. My story seemed to amuse him, and he asked why I didn't come out and swim a little deeper. I explained that I wasn't allowed to go in past my knees until my dad came back because I couldn't swim very well yet, and it would get me into trouble. He assured me that I couldn't possibly get into trouble if he was teaching me how to swim, and that my dad wouldn't see because he had gone. When I was still hesitant, he added, "Are you scared? I thought you were brave." So I followed him out until my feet couldn't touch the bottom, and he immediately held me under. I'm getting angry and upset just thinking about it. I struggled, but he was more than twice my age and size. I realize now he had taken me out willingly so the other kids wouldn't know what he was up to. Drowning an unattended young child really is the perfect crime because you could very easily pass it off as an accident. Probably only moments before I lost consciousness, the boy abruptly let go and my dad lifted me out of the water. I can still see the look of bewilderment mixed with fear and rage on my dad's face. Then, for what seemed like a very long time, he patted my back while I screamed, sobbed, and coughed over his shoulder. By the time I settled and my father was satisfied that I was okay, the boy and the other kids were long gone. Although my dad still went driving around looking for them. Had that kid stuck around, I'm quite sure my dad would have killed him. As far as I know, my dad never found out who the boy was, and shortly after this we moved towns. I don't think he ever went to the police, but I can't be certain. All I know is that he never told my mom about it, probably because she would have lost her shit at him for leaving me alone. Also, for those who asked, I really do feel that that kid seriously meant to kill me. There was something malicious about the way he tightened his hold when I struggled. It felt like he was determined and not mucking around. So determined, in fact, that he didn't even see my dad coming. So, creepy blonde kid who has now become an adult? Let's not meet again. Working the graveyard shift, I was the lone employee from just after 10 at night to just before 6 in the morning. Not only that, but the next nearest all-night anything was another convenience store over 2 miles away, that from my store you could just barely see in the light pollution of their neon. this setup alone made for many interesting happenings. And tonight, it was a Saturday night going into Sunday morning, just after 4 a.m., when a middle-aged man with thick glasses and week-old stubble walked in. He wasn't unpleasant at first. He made small talk as he walked through the store. He mentioned things about the weather. He asked about the hot dogs and taquitos on the grill. It was what it was. At first. But then the comments started slipping away. Minor vulgarities and weird things. After walking about the store for a good 20 minutes, he comes up to the register to check out. Without anything to actually buy. I asked him if he needed help with anything, and he asked me... He asked me what I knew about the Antichrist. Alright, I know enough, I guess. I was raised Catholic, so I know quite a bit on the subject. And so he stares at me. Eyes wide, mouth pursed. I wasn't sure if he was actually about to bite me on the face or kiss me on the lips, and not being able to tell the difference made me uneasy. The man said, "I should get a hot dog." Alright, which one? One of the big ones. I want to enjoy it. There'll be no more hot dogs once the Antichrist comes. It sounds like a ridiculous statement, but yeah, okay, it is a ridiculous statement, but when said with genuine menace, it becomes a thinly veiled harbinger of doom. I did my best to ignore it. Got the bun and the dog and handed it over to him. He walked around to the condiment bar, and he continued. "You have onions?" Yes. I love onions." And there was a long pause. Yeah, many people do." They better enjoy them. There'll be no more onions once the Antichrist comes." There's really no way to respond to that. So I try to go back about my work, but even as I walk, as I stock cigarettes and start my nightly count, I can feel him watching every move I make. He comes up to the register with his hot dog, pays, and I hope to hell we're done here. "Thanks for coming, you have a good night." And I turn my back. Can I eat this here? Probably not a good idea. The manager comes by at about 5:30, and he doesn't like it if anyone's hanging out here. Stuff to do, you know? And then the man said, I'm not worried about him. The shit part about that was I was partially lying. The manager, my boss, he's a really awesome guy. He usually did arrive around 5:30 in the morning, Monday through Friday. But he avoided the place like the plague on the weekends. I was trying to sell something that I knew wouldn't fly if this guy actually stuck around long enough for no one to show up. And now he was telling me he wasn't concerned about someone else showing up. Saturday nights are busy for convenience stores, but after about 3:30 they become a ghost town. And it was just me and this guy for one extended, uninterrupted, fucked up conversation after another. I'd try to walk and stock cups, lids, and straws, and he'd pop up right behind me. There'll be no cups and straws when the Antichrist comes. I arranged the beer and coffee. There'll be no coffee when the Antichrist comes. I realize it sounds like a joke, but his panicked eyes and horribly hinting smile made it clear. He was dead serious about everything he was saying. 5 a.m. rolls around. Well, you should probably get going. Don't want the boss man getting mad at me now. He won't get mad at you. It's just he doesn't like people hanging out. We're just talking about the Bible. He said this so sickly sweet it made my stomach churn. Yeah, but still, he's going to be here soon. I'm not worried about him. I need milk. Fine, okay. I point to the display case. He walks back, grabs a thing of milk slowly, and robotically inspects the carton all the way back to the register. I love milk, he says. Oh, really? Yep. But there'll be no more milk when the Antichrist comes. The devil won't allow it. It's holy sustenance. Alright, so at this point I'm sizing the guy up. He's about 5'9", I'm about 6'4", and I've got at least 100 pounds on him, so if things go south, I think I can get a few good knocks in before he pulls out my liver and puts it on his head. 5'10". Should really probably get going. Jesus loves all his children. 5'15". Boss is gonna be here soon. I'm not worried about him. 5'20". Is there anything else you need? The devil is real. And then he said my full name. This is where two things happened that if I hadn't lived through, I would have just called bullshit to the person telling the story. At 5:30, for the first time in almost 2 years I'd worked there, my boss comes into the store on a Sunday morning. He fucking managed to unbluff my bluff with this guy. And secondly, this is the jaw-droppingly hilarious part for me. James had been to the beach on Saturday. James, my manager, had fallen asleep at the beach on Saturday. James had shaved his head fresh before going to the beach on Saturday. In other words, just as I told him he would, my boss came walking in at 5:30 on the dot. With a completely shaved head, his long, dark goatee, and bright, red skin. I look at him and I go, "What the fuck are you doing here?" Honestly, I have no idea." He looks at the guy. "Who's this?" I didn't answer. I look at James, look at the guy, and then back at James, and then James looks at the guy, and James says, "Let's go outside and chat, friend." Less than 10 minutes later, the guy's walking off and James came back into the store. "So, how are you?" The fuck was that about? "Oh, Richard? Well, he started telling me about Jesus. I started telling him about witchcraft. He said the Antichrist was coming. I said I was the Antichrist, overloaded his circuits, and he left." I love James. I wish this is where the story ended, but nope. About 3 months later, I'm outside of my store and smoking a cigarette with a few regular customers of mine, just shooting the shit. Somewhere in the distance I hear, "Jesus, Lord! Lord God, help me!" I perk up, but the people I'm with don't seem to notice. "Jesus, please, I know you can help me!" It's closer now, and I actually say out loud, "Oh God, please don't be Richard." "Jesus Christ, come down from heaven and save me!" Please don't be Richard." Sure enough, barreling around the side of the building and heading in my direction is a panicked, screaming, sweaty Richard, covered in his own blood. The people I'm with ask the appropriate question of, "Dude, is he fucking covered in blood?" I, on the other hand, had only one thought on my mind, and I repeated it over and over again. "Don't go in the store, don't go in the store, don't go in the store, shit!" I crush my cigarette and go into the store. In the few seconds he's been in there, I now have blood all over the doors, the floors, the rugs, and the countertops, and he's still screaming, "Jesus Christ, please fucking come down and save me!" I grab him some towels and tossed him in his general direction, trying to get an idea of the nature of his wounds while dialing 911. Now, I can't be sure because I can't say I've seen it before, but it looks quite possibly like he tried to crucify himself. Alright then. 911, what is your emergency? Hi, I have a gentleman in my store who is injured, screaming profanities, yelling about Jesus, and is covered in his own blood. What? His name is Richard, and I don't know how badly he's hurt, but I hear her typing, and she asked me what the store name is, the address, and all that. Alright, and you said that he's screaming profanities? Richard, who can't hear her, suddenly screams, "Fuck!" Did you happen to hear that? Yes, I did. And you said that he's talking about Jesus. Richard again, who still can't hear her, Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior! Fuck, please fucking come and save me! Did you happen to hear that? The 911 operator sighs and says, Yes, I did. And then Richard, in all his glory, does the one thing that makes any convenience store clerk go aggro, especially one on the graveyard. I turn away from him to give the operator the store incident number, and when I turn back around, Richard is now behind me, behind the register. I drop the phone. Richard, I don't give a fuck what's wrong with you. If you don't get out from behind my fucking counter, I will hang up with 911 and let you bleed to death right here in my fucking store. But the confrontation didn't last long. Before he could respond, there were 4 PD officers with me. I thanked the 911 operator, hung up, and got the fuck out. Richard was handcuffed inside of an ambulance, and even the officer said it appeared he tried to do something harmful with religious significance. I thanked them for coming so quickly, and we laughed about the strangeness of it all. And then I asked a question I wish I hadn't. So, who cleans up all this blood? The lead officer looks at me and says, that'd be you.